a good ad. All right, let's dive into this one, shall we? So this is a base mono green deck that has 2 splashes. The first splash is for colorless mana on Thought-Knot Seer and Reality Smasher here, just like good pieces of top end. This kills people. This disrupts their hand while also being a relevant body. We already wanted to be playing Llanowar Wastes for the black splash anyway, so we had 4 colorless sources there. Hashep Oasis is a pretty easy ad that's also just good with our trample and big creatures anyways. And then if you look at our deck, almost all of our cheap creatures, we've got 8 elves, Growth Chamber Guardians and elf, Steel Leaf Champions and elf. So Unclaimed Territory then becomes pretty free as well as something we can name elf on that also makes colorless mana for our Thought-Knots and our Smashers. Because we've got a bunch of undercosted creatures in this deck, or creatures that have high power for lower mana cost, I've got 3 Great Henge here at the top end of our curve, which can gain us some life in the aggressive matchups and generate card advantage for us in the more grindy matchups. I've got a couple of Viviens here because she's really good at making Thought-Knot Seer trample as well as making things like Steel Leaf trample. And then we have a small black splash because it's mostly free. The only card that uses black mana in the main deck is Scrapheap Scrounger to come back again and again. Scrapheap is notably really good with Great Henge because Great Henge doesn't trigger on cast. It triggers when a non-token creature enters the battlefield. So I think that's good. There's also a bunch of really good black cards that we get out of the sideboard. Some Thoughtseize as additional disruption for spell-based combo, some cheap removal, some Noxious Grasp and Trophies as flexible cards. So let's go ahead and dive on into another league here and see how this one goes. I have timed that gift sub out for making bad or lazy comments like 4 or 5 times in the last 2 days, so they can just go away. That's a stunning example of why I'm no longer accepting gift sub for deck Q bumps. Just not worthwhile. Yeah, if you click on people's names on the desktop, you can see if they're a prime sub, a gift sub, or a paid sub. And I give a lot more leniency to the people who actually pay my bills. But like that person, they've posted a lot of low effort, low quality comments. So they're not new here. They know what's expected. Sarnak, thanks for 11 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. You know, looking at this, hey, there's nothing wrong with prime subs. Prime subs are the same as regular subs to me. All those pay my mortgage all the same. You know, this actually isn't a card. We've been working on the blue-green Eldrazi deck all the same, and this is a card I'd not considered in that deck, and I feel like maybe I should. This seems like potentially a card that's very good in that archetype. I've been looking for like decent 2-drops. Why is it so hard to link Prime to Twitch? Trust me when I tell you that it's literally 2 clicks. It is super easy. Can someone tell Jotra in chat they should try a different web browser? That Stream Rules link isn't super relevant anymore. I don't think. Yeah, it's probably still fine. So, they pass, they can have Queller up. You know what doesn't get Spell Quellered, chat? Reality Smasher doesn't get Spell Quellered. Can confirm 2 clicks. Thanks to the 7 months, Spearburger. Surprise, Squid! Ha! I'm not attacking with this because Spell Queller is a 2-3. I'd prefer not to get ambushed by it. Nothing but net. Alright. Hey, Prodigy, thanks for the Prime support. I appreciate that. Hope you're having an excellent day wherever you are. Welcome to Hoaglandia. Our opponent is confirmed in love with the Coco. Hopefully they're not going to untap and kill us. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. They could be untapping and killing us here. Alright, so since that happened and they didn't block my Growth Chamber Guardian, I'm going to go ahead and Thought-Knot Seer here. And hopefully take a Lord so we don't die next turn. Perfect. Alright, so if they don't peel a top deck here, we're in an okay spot. Am I dead yet? If they peel a Lord, we're exactly dead. Magic sucks. Oh, Magic. This game, it tries the patience sometimes, chat. It tries the patience. I think I want to cut my 4s. Just bring in a bunch of removal here. Strategic game. Lots of interaction. Yeah, 6 removals probably plenty. Let's leave the Great Henge in. For those that are curious, I did a little math, and between our elves, henges, and once upon a time, there's less than 1% chance we can't play Vivien with our first 4 sources. Daily reminder that discard sucks when you cast them and when you are the target. Yeah, I agree. Targeted discard spells like Magic has a ton of in their design. I think a real medium from a game design perspective. They pretty much always create lots of feel bad experiences. Sure. The goose is loose. Am I Rhonising here, or am I Growth Chamber Guarding? I think I'm gonna Growth Chamber. I think I want to get a threat down that can attack through a Spell Queller here ASAP. That's weird. That's a good draw. Gives us a 5th land to Reality Swisher with next turn. And I think now I'm gonna attack with this and then play Rhonas. I think Scavenging Ooze isn't good enough in this matchup, Ruin, because there aren't enough creatures dying. Like, while I agree with you that the life gain from Ooze feels relevant, like, think about that first game, there were 0 creatures in graveyards, right? I think that's going to be the norm. We're mostly going to be attacking past each other. We've not played Spirits and Pioneer, no. Elk the Indomitable here. That's fine. It's really not a big deal. We're going to play Smasher and, like, bear down on the old Oko here. So they have to, like, throw away both their geese if they want to keep their Planeswalker alive, and then he still takes a hit. And, like, we're still at 19 here. That's the part where they play a second Oko. Sounds right. Reality Elker. Lifestyles of the rich and the elkish. Do 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 do. Boo do 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 do. Do 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 do. Beep 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 beep. Boo do 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 do. Alright, so what am I doing here? I think we're just like Smusher Smash Oko again, right? Don't want to trade here. I think I'm okay with that. We attacked Oko for 10, and then we just attacked this Oko for 13. So, a lot, to answer your question. And again, just to highlight again on the comment about, what's it called from earlier, about Scavenging Ooze versus Growth Chamber Guardian, like, if this had been a Scooze, there's literally still not creatures in the bin, right? And, like, they had double Oko, but, like, we're still in a pretty okay spot, right? Our opponent's hand was okay. Yeah, I guess, like, Dork into 2 Spirits, double Oko Collecting Company. They still died, right? So, like, we kept up with one of their good draws there, right? Which feels pretty good. I think I'm going to trim a Rhonas on the draw and bring in one more trophy. Maybe I want to trim a Great Henge on the draw, too. Yeah, I guess Great Henge isn't stellar against Oko. Hey, thanks for the brand new Prime support, Indy. I really appreciate that. Welcome to Hooglandia. Thanks for keeping me employed here this month. I think the Great Elk is trimmable against Oko. Probably reasonable. Probably not unreasonable. Sure. I've not played any Kozilek's Return EDF decks on stream. Or off stream, really, but I've built a lot of them. And I think they're just not good enough. I think Llanowar Elves is better than Kozilek's Return. Is basically, like, from looking at the decks and, like, considering the format and, like, looking at what the curves look like. You don't have good ways to, like, bin Kozilek's Return for free in this format. Feels pretty medium overall. It is Paperscape. That was, Jim Davis was doing something similar, and I was like, oh, that's really sweet. Are they missing a third land? That would be super good for us. Deal. In. I think 4 mana spells in general are just pretty medium in this matchup if they don't have a huge impact, just because 4 mana give them maximum tempo off of a spell queller, which is not ideal. That's why I cut the Thought-Knot Seers too. Smasher gets the pass because it's 5, so it doesn't get spell quellered. Yeah, Jim does good stuff. I was excited to see him smarten up and start doing content instead of grinding the tour. Driving in my Smasher, beep beep. Hope no one wrecks into me. Stroke me, daddy. You know just how I like it. Wow, that's brutal. Man, that's super unfortunate. That turns off our Great Henge too. Oh, I tapped wrong. Crap, that's a big deal. Alright, so I took a point of damage I didn't have to take here. So I should have tapped an Oasis to... I should have tapped Oasis to play Once Upon a Time. If they have another Reflector Mage, we're going to be just dead here. They have another Company. Rats. Yeah, I don't know that there was really much we could do this game. I definitely, yeah. I don't know. Feels bad, man. That was not the Noxious Grasp trophy. If we would have hit a removal spell for this, we could have killed this and then cast this for 4 and then played a Growth Chamber Guardian. And then 3, 4, 5, 6. Not quite been dead because we had a gain 2, but... Had a good draw on the plate. And then in the game 1, for people that came in a little bit late, our opponent was dead on board and then drew a Lord with no spells in hand to exactly lethal us. No, I don't really know offhand, Rhino Garth. I think, especially with like the advent of the MPL, most of the people that most people who make reasonable content producers end up making content and then realize they can make money at it. People who have some amount of notoriety from having successful paper play can translate into some amount of audience on Twitch and then snowball that pretty easily. If they have something to start with. Growth Chamber Guardians felt really good so far. Excellent curve filler. Scale of 1 to dead. Where's this elf at? Yeah, there's a ton of content producers who don't play paper. It's just people who have like a bunch of SCG Tour top 8s or like a bunch of Grand Prix or Pro Tour top 8s. Like if you have a resume like that and you're a good content producer, it's not hard to be successful. Like that's an appropriate mix. So like just being good at one or the other doesn't necessarily translate well, but like that's definitely a big part of like if you look at the people who have gotten larger, a lot of them meet that criteria. Or even if it wasn't for Magic, like people had success in like other games. Like people like Show and Savitz, like those folks had competitive success in other games. It helps to find an audience if you're already well known. I don't even know that well known is correct, You just need some type of small base to start, right? Because like in the Magic category, for instance, even if you have like 100 viewers, which isn't a lot in the grand scheme of Twitch, but like 100 viewers in the Magic section is a ton, basically. Like 100 viewers for Magic gets you like in the top X small percentage of people streaming Magic. So like if you have that small start, you're able to actually snowball it in Magic in a way that you can't snowball in other games. Because like having 100 viewers in Hearthstone, for instance, doesn't really get you anywhere. No, I don't think so, Spankweasel. So this card notably is very good with the Great Henge, not only for providing more power to get the Great Henge into play faster, but it's also good at, they have a Culligan's command here. That's so brutal. I could gamble and discard the land, but I think that's unnecessary. We're just like gonna draw nothing but lands here now. But I think it's right to bin the Smasher there and kick the guaranteed 5-drop next turn. Haven't played with or against it, Zerim, so don't really have any educated or informed opinions on it. So they don't have anything in their bin that Jace can flash back to kill Smasher, so we've got that going for us. We'll see if they have one in their hand. They bottomed. That bodes well for our hero. Yeah, I thought I was looking for the best EDF deck, but the more I like think about decks in this format, I think I want to just find the best Llanowar Elf Smasher deck. Like casting Reality Smasher ahead of Curve just feels like what I want to be doing here. I think it's correct to kill their Jace. If they don't have like a main deck Lava Coil, this Scrapheap's probably going to run them into the ground after they picked us apart. Yeah, Scrounger. Scrounger's a tough one for them to deal with. Can exile a creature from our bin to come back. Yeah, Elf down. I would expect modern prices to start coming down over the next few months. Price memory is real, and it takes a long time for card prices to meaningfully come down. But I would expect as many people realize they like this format more than modern, that modern prices will depress a little bit. Smasher does not trigger on... Smasher notably does not trigger on abilities, so it does not make them discard. Can I just click submit? Is that crazy? I feel like that's not crazy. I mean, we don't know how heavily standard cards will be used going forward, right? Like, we don't know if the power level is going to stay the same. And for the record, I think when I'm saying modern prices are going to come down, I would expect it to take a year or more for that to realistically start happening. Price memories last a long time. I am playing a green deck without Veil. In my experience, the decks that Veil is good against don't seem like very good decks in general. Kinda medium. When's Legacy price coming down? Never. I'll let them Thoughtseize here. If they want to take my ones, they can take my ones. Reptar, thanks for the 5 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. I'd like to thank everyone for hanging out this morning, by the way. If you're a new viewer and you're enjoying the content, make sure you hit that follow button. I'm here streaming full-time. I do 30 to 40 hours of Magic every single week, usually Monday through Friday. I'm going to take an extra elf here, because elves fuel the Scrapheap Scrounger. We are currently the most watched Magic channel in the category here on Twitch, so I'd like to thank everybody for joining us and watching Magic's premier play client here. I think I'm just going to attack for 1 and then play a Scrapheap Scrounger. How much did you get those Llanowar Elves Jades to 7th edition? Listen, I just play with whatever MTGO trader sends me. Alright, I deserve that. Did not play around the Syncopate, which exiles my Scrapheap Scrounger. That could very easily lose us this game. My sponsor, MTGO Traders, provides me with all the cards I need to play on here. Alright, Thoughtseize. Imagine if I just, like, had a second Scrounger here. So we're in an okay spot, because Scrounger's pretty good against them. But really shouldn't have played around Clash. Yep. Yeah, I deserve that. Magma Spray deals 2 in exiles. I'm just gonna play this out so it doesn't get discarded to Key Command. Hitting a bunch of land drops to eventually cast our Great Henge for like 8 or 9 seems fine. Yeah, opponent's got Scrapheap Scrounger's number. Shock hits the player's face. Wild Slash hits player's face. Magma Spray does not hit player's faces. Well, that could be good eventually. He says before he discards it. Eldrazi. Ding, ding, ding. I wanted these in the other order, chat. I wanted the Great Henge first. Oh! Oh, papi! That's what I'm talking about. Sure. Yeehaw! Yeah, they've got a lot of Delve in their deck, huh? Cruise, and Tassiger. There are 2 lands from flipping this bad boy over. Hot take, T-Plane. Playing with strong cards is fun, and banning strong cards is not always the answer. I think banning cards like Oath of Nissa and banning cards like Oath of Nissa and banning cards like Once Upon a Time is better than banning cards like Oko. Magic is a game that many people play because they enjoyed varied gameplay patterns, and cards like Once Upon a Time and Oath of Nissa reduce the variety of gameplay patterns you get to experience. But Oko turns all gameplay patterns into elks. Fair. I think I'm passing for one more turn here. I think next turn I'm gonna Hashep Oasis the elf and smash. Yeah, I agree. I agree, Dead Confidant. I feel like our opponent's draw has been very good and ours has been kind of mediocre, and we're like keeping up. Which is nice. I also punted and didn't play around to syncopate. Like if I'd have played around to syncopate on 2, they'd have been under more pressure, which would be a big deal. So I don't know that necessarily straight up too consistent is what I would say, but I think there's merit to talking about when one of your colors is more consistent than the others. So in general, consistency isn't a bad thing, but it is a bad thing when only one color has that consistency. Do we Oasis the champion so it doesn't trade? That it still trades. They just double block. This is a 5/4, so it'd be a 8/7. This attack's okay. The fact that they had Young Pyromancer makes it less stellar. Like they're gonna get a zombie token. I'm like, I'm not sure I can beat this Kalitas now. Is the issue, and they get to draw a card too. So I think we're dead here. If I had played around the syncopate earlier, like I had a Scrapheap Scrounger that got in like 6 more points of damage, we could maybe get this, but like, I think we're probably done here. Is the food package better than the Black Splash? Can you explain why that's the case? Why do you think that's better? It is quite a good zombie token. I agree with that. I was just thinking, even if we draw Smasher this turn, we're still dead, right? Because they can go block here, sack this to Kalitas. Kalitas eats Smasher. They gain 5, go to 12. They take 7. I think we're just dead. We needed our Great Henge and TKS draws to be reversed that game. Needed TKS a turn sooner. I think I'm happy with how I sideboarded him to run it back. No, the only reason the Great Henge got thought erased was because I couldn't cast it. If I'd have drawn them in the reverse order, I would have been able to cast both of my spells, rendering their discard useless. All right. I don't know. Do we, Niv? So, okay, subs, there's been a lot of this today. You know the rules. I would really appreciate it if instead of people needling me and asking me, do we want X, please start putting some effort into your comments. Tell me why we want it and tell me what we want to cut for it. Magic's a really complicated game, and there's lots of choices at every point. We always want Chipotle. Never not Chipotle. Oh no! I went to time out the anti-Chipotle comment, and I fragged Garden Variety Troll by mistake. Sorry, troll. Qdoba's like medium Chipotle in my experience. Not a fan. Without like EDF as a top end in this deck and like no Oko to like make a bunch of decisions, I feel like the player agency allotted with this build is super low. I know we just got Thoughtseized a bunch, then didn't draw any spells, like that could happen too with the other build, but like, I feel like the spells in this deck on average give me less choices than the blue-green Eldrazi deck has. Yeah, Brazen Borrower is a very choice-filled card as well. It's a pretty good draw. Have a thing that can attack into their Bolas. And he finds a friend. Well, I mean, like, Chipotle and Qdoba and Moe's, those aren't like actually Mexican food. They're like Americanized Mexican food. Why did you activate it here instead of waiting to dodge discard? Because if I wait and pass till my opponent's turn, they can kill it in response to me activating it, and then I don't get to find a friend. And my opponent's already played 3 discard spells, and they've only played 1 Magma Spray, so my opponent is far more likely to have another removal spell than they are to have a discard spell there. Don't be afraid to use your things that happen at instant speed at sorcery speed to play around the appropriate things. Chandra's super sweet. Chandra's a card that maybe we should consider in the... We played a Grixis deck earlier today. She's just a super strong card in general. We have a Tassiger. I don't know, we can beat a 4-5. think we're dead here. Yeah, I think modal cards are great. And that's one of the reasons why Planeswalkers are great, is because Planeswalkers are cards that have modes. It's like cards that give players lots of choices tend to be good Magic cards. They're cards that you want to exist. Think I take that? So I know, like, this game, my graveyard is full, but in general, no, I don't think we can play Tasigur. It's going to frequently be a card that we can't cast except for large amounts of mana. Blue to Noob, thanks for the 8 months of support there. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Probably dead here. I don't even think... I think Oko's probably dropping in price because even if people aren't expecting a ban, they just don't want to play Standard because Standard sucks. So, like, either it gets banned and then it's less popular, or it doesn't get banned and they still don't have a reason to play Standard anyways, right? What was that? That was an exciting match. I think we got as many cards Thoughtseize and Thought Erasured as we actually cast. What about Oasising your Growth Chamber Guardian, forcing Tasigur to chump block? Maybe that's a good line. I didn't consider that one. That doesn't seem unreasonable. We would have just gotten blown out by their Harness Lightning, but that could have been fine. Maybe they didn't have enough. Maybe they didn't have enough energy. The first deck we played today was good. The Grixis control deck was fine. We had to play against Nexus of Fate, which, like, sucks regardless of what you're playing. Like, even when your matchup against Nexus is good, it's still a miserable game of Magic. Which, honestly, I'd kind of be okay if they banned that deck on that principle alone. Just like, the Magic this deck plays sucks even when it's losing. So, like, if you beat someone in Magic and you walk away feeling sad, like, that their deck probably shouldn't exist. Well, we drew the second land. How greedy is it to take Steel Leaf Champion here? I'm only bottoming one land. I'm gonna take Steel Leaf Champion. Looks like Blue-Red Phoenix on the other side. This matchup's probably pretty okay for us. In my experience, the Blue-Red Phoenix matchup tends to be good for the Blue-Green Eldrazi deck, and this deck has even more large, cheap creatures than that one does. I think there's 800 different things they could do fight, and I don't really care to speculate because what my opinion is doesn't really matter. Misses by 5-4, concede. Yep, sounds right. Sounds right. Hey, Charles, thanks for the 17 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. All right, so we're going to board in... We're going to board in trophies and pushes and skews. The trophies and pushes are because you need to be able to kill Thing in the Ice in our creature deck. Scavenging Ooze helps deal with the Phoenixes. I'm cutting Thought-Knot Seer in this matchup. While the 4/4 body is relevant, the the discard effect isn't that good, and the 4/4 body's just okay. I think it's worse than a lot of the other cards that we have here. So, this is fine, but just okay. Rhonas, I'm trimming 1 copy of because they have such a hard time killing my big creatures anyways that, like, if I have just 1 creature in play, they're probably losing. So playing this card that needs a second creature along with it seems not ideal. I don't know. Personal opinions on the Nexus deck aside, it's tedious. I think if we defined objective measures for what makes a deck tedious in Magic, the Nexus deck ticks all of them. No, I don't think discard spells are good in this matchup, Tom. Most of my opponent's cards all do the same thing. So, like, taking away one of them outside of Treasure Cruise doesn't really matter. And, like, they have so many cards that draw cards that, like, taking a Treasure Cruise, they're going to find another one. So, I don't like Thoughtseize for the same reason I board out the Thought-Knot Seers here. He's dead, Jim. You've murdered him. Make you feel like a big man to slash my elf? What was he doing to you? He didn't do nothing to nobody. Poor little elf. So feels bad trophying them while we're on the draw, but I think I need to just get that out of here. I don't want them to untap and be able to, like, spell pierce me with Izzet Charm. Yep. Hoping to draw a land next turn. Yikes. Hoping to draw a removal spell. I mean, like, that's, like, technically removal spell adjacent. Should, like, they not have anything and we draw lands for our creatures. Thanks for the 2 months, Jay Boone. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Yeah, when you're taking extra turns, if you go to time, you can take all 5 extra turns. They're on a boat. They get to delve everything but the Phoenix here. And they had nothing. Okay. Well, you know. I can't beat this thing flipping with no land, so let's just go to the third game. Two incredibly stimulating and interesting games of Magic the Gathering there. There's a lot of variance in Magic. That's why Magic's best as a best of 3 game, in my opinion. When you play Magic as a best of 3 game, the chance that you get 1 decent game out of 3 is usually pretty high. Usually 1 game you lose to Screw, another game they lose to Flood, and then, like, you know, have one where you both have a good balance of resources. So I figured out I could watch this stream on break and lunch. I've been much less productive at work. I aim to reduce productivity. Morning, Psyduck. Happy Thursday. That's good. Removal for things, Screws for birds, Smasher to smash. Drake thanks for the 15 months. I appreciate you keeping me around. Welcome back. Smasher gonna smash, chat. Hey, Cyrell. Welcome back. Happy Thursday. Wow. That didn't immediately die. Huh. I'm playing Oasis and pass here. I'm a tech for one, sorry. I'm doing well, Draken. I didn't play the Scavenging Ooze out because if they have Wild Slash, or Is It Charm, I don't want it to die to those things. And now I get to trophy this, and then I can untap and play Scooze and eat the thing in the ice, so it no longer dies to a shock. Does die to Axe and Fiery Temper here, but that's what it is. Yep. Yep. Hey, thanks for keeping me around, Shagai. Good to have you here. They have ended the entirety of our career. Pay a life to eat the card out of their bin there to make their future treasure cruises marginally worse here, hopefully. Alright, I mean, if their hand's really bad, if they can't flip this thing and I draw a land here, we could be okay. Or if they flip the thing and I draw a removal spell, we could be okay. They have like a Charter Course. Yeah, they're pretty likely to flip this over. Thing in the ice flips into a 7/8 on the back half that returns all of our creatures to our hand. So, resets the board, removes our pressure, and creates an incredible amount of pressure for them. This was, you know, both these games we lost, they had two things. We only had one removal spell. That's kind of how it goes sometimes. Yeah, I have one shot at Doomblade here. Yep. Yeah, this set was pretty rough overall. You know, let's try one more. See if we can get on the scoreboard, but this is why you want to play games with things. This felt pretty mediocre overall. I felt like removing, this has similar ideas going on to it to the blue-green Eldrazi deck, but it's a little bit more smashy focus, has some fewer tempo elements like Brazen Borrower and Elder Deep Fiend in it, and losing those slight pieces of interaction, Oko as well, has not felt good. Like, just being linear has not felt ideal. I don't know, like, you could write it off as unlucky, but, like, just thinking about the games, like, games where I'm not offered counterplay or meaningful choices are, like, not great, and it's felt like a lot of these games that I've been playing, it's just kind of been like, well, this is my stuff, and I, like, don't have any strong choices to make around them. We've not put the Great Henge into play at all. No. I think with better beats, we could have won some of those games with a little bit better luck. But I also think like the deck hasn't felt impressive outside of like even if we were winning, the deck's not felt particularly impressive. Hey, Majestic Eagle, it's my first ever non-prime sub. Well, thank you for the quarter V, or welcome back. Hope you're having an excellent day wherever you are. Hoping to find a Llanowar Elf or a Growth Chamber Guardian with this Once Upon a Time. Yeah, that's exactly it. We're like, these are my things, are they good enough? And the answer to that question has like been a resounding no in all of these matches. It's like, no, what you can muster is in fact not good enough. I mean, I don't know. It's not like we've really been dying with Henge in our hand, right? I don't know that I'd really write any of this off as Henge needs to change or be different. I think the Phoenix deck is fine. I think, like, we lost 2 games in a row there where we didn't have a second removal spell. In my experience playing against the Phoenix deck a lot and watching other people play the Phoenix deck, it seems super, super reasonable for the format. That's fine. They killed their elf. Looks like we're going to get a rematch here against Phoenix. I don't really think Ballista's a good early drop. I think at the point where you're trying to veer into Ballista with this deck, you're just a bad Green Devotion deck, so just play Green Devotion. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, the Green Devotion deck still seems very good in a post-Oath of Nissa world. Post-Leyline world. Which, that, again, like, when they ban something out of a deck, and that deck's still playable, that always says to me in my mind, like, this was a good banning. Like, if you could take the best cards out of a deck, and that deck's still super playable and competitive, it's like, yeah, that deck was probably too good. I don't really think Cruise is a problem. I think people are just so conditioned to say Dig and Cruise have to be too strong that people are... The stunning lack of people's ability to reassess threats in the context of the format in which they're being played is just like... It's really weird to me. Even really good Magic players consistently fail to acknowledge that cards can be too good in one format and perfectly fine in another. It's the reason you get people saying things like Stoneforge Mystic and Jace the Mind Sculptor were going to be too good for Modern. You want a lukewarm take? I think Cruise and Dig would probably be fine in Modern. But... And that's honestly, that's one of the things I've been enjoying the most about this format. The fact that they started the ban list super small is really appealing because I think that there's so many cards that are banned in Modern at this point that just shouldn't be. And I'm honestly, I'm just a little bit tired of advocating for them to be unbanned. So just like getting to play a different format where that's not a thing is nice. I'm going to cut the Great Henge around here. That's also a bad faith, lazy argument, Frostdaughter. I know you're probably being a little bit sarcastic, but I think it's good to call those arguments out. Well, they can unban some things, so they should unban everything is idiotic. It's a bad faith discussion tactic that you see happen in politics a lot too, where people say, oh, what if we improve this thing or change it a little bit? And people go, well, what about my slippery slope? But I'm going to naturally extend this to an unreasonable extension. It's like, no, we can change things a little bit without like running all the way off the edge of the cliff, right? Thanks for the 3/4 of a year, Too Much Dog. Welcome back. I appreciate it. Punishing Fire is a card that I think is probably not too strong for Modern, but it also creates gameplay patterns that are awful enough that I hope they leave it. I hope they leave it banned. Yes, I'm daring to imply that things are not always binary. We live in a society. It wasn't a slippery slope argument. It was, I mean, so like, I'd also like to point out that red herring, yo, bro, it's a joke, don't take it so seriously when someone says something stupid that's poorly received. Like, that's one of the worst cop-outs in general. Like, whoa, don't take it so hard, I was just kidding, lol, 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 laugh with me. Yeah, but policy is not binary, Ginser. So for example, to hot button topic, you can implement some gun control in the United States without banning all guns. Like, people who need to feel big about themselves, they feel the need to own an automatic firearm that's capable of slaughtering dozens of people in a matter of seconds, those probably aren't necessary for self-defense, so they shouldn't be allowed for citizens to own. You can say, hey, that's not okay, without getting rid of every gun in the United States. The feral hog problem is a tough one. I believe in us, though. We can solve it as a society. Simple hog solution, sacrifice for food tokens. If Emrakul attacks your house, you can just block it with 15 squirrels and be fine. Mana base hurts, and our sideboard doesn't have much to do in the way of collective brutality. If we decide the burn/aggro matchup, do we not think... I think the beefy blockers are sufficient. I also don't think this deck's very good from our time playing it today. I think it's probably worse than the blue-green Eldrazi deck. Just like, play Oko and laugh at people. So Moto's currently... Alright, it woke up? Alright. Moto has awoken from its great slumber. Is there a term for the fallacy of the solution is 100% perfect and therefore should not be implemented? I don't think so. Not one that I've heard, at least. I think we're probably dead here. These creature, you basically just have to answer Thing in the Ice. Your creature deck just loses to it. Feels bad, man. Moto's not quite old enough to drink. It will be old enough to vote in the 2020 election, though. The Nirvana fallacy. I've never heard that term before, but I suppose in context it makes sense. It can drink in Europe or Canada. Fair. Depends on where you live. Chat, we're gonna roll past 6 million views on the channel here sometime soon. Probably tomorrow or Monday. Yay, meaningless metrics. Yeah, don't let perfect be the enemy of good, is the vernacular. You used to say, hey, don't do that. Is there a surer sign of being a disciple of the church, but actually, other than knowing the names of the fallacies? Yeah, I think when Moto votes in 2020, it's going to vote for, like, George Bush or Al Gore, because it's not quite sure what election it's keeping up with. Hey, thanks for continuing your sub-gift, Minus. Welcome back. My excuse is being a rhetoric teacher. That rhetoric teacher. I think I'm supposed to take the land here. Because, like, if I take the Steel Leaf Champion, they're going to shock my elf. And, like, taking a damage from all my lands kind of hurts. Here in Italy, Moto would be able to drink, vote, be married to Arena, and finally have a good, comprehensive video game. That's something. Yeah, see, Arena's not that old. Arena's only like 3 or 4. That sounds illegal in most places. I hope, please God. Thanks for the tip, Reverend. I'm a simple man. I see Eldrazi, I donate. Played a lot of Eldrazi here recently. It's a good time. So Vivien on the play here should actually be fast enough to kill Thing in the Ice, which is sick since we have the acceleration. And if they Lightning Axe me, I have Reality Smasher next turn, which can kill Thing in the Ice. One of the really nice things about this matchup and format is that there's no free spells like Manamorphose or Phyrexian mana. So, like, when they play Thing in the Ice on 2, you know you have a turn of breathing room to address it before they flip it on 4. Absolute fastest thing happens is 4. So they have 2 Thing in the Ices anyways. Is it crazy to just like put counters on these and attack? That's probably loose. I have anything useful in my sideboard, right? No. This is the part where they play Lightning Axe and slaughter me. If they flip Thing over next turn, we're going to be in trouble. Our deck basically can just never beat double Thing in the Ice is the issue. I mean, like, if they flip Thing over, they kill Vivien. I guess I can draw a land. All right, I don't have anything going on. Oh, I guess if they do that, they have to take damage off the Shivan Reefs. So the Shivan Reef would mean with the land we could get it. Yeah, okay, fair. Opponent did not have it, and they were dead. This deck's been a little medium, but I'm gonna play the last one and try and get my $5 back before we roll on into Abzan Hero. Yeah, it's been a rough league. This deck's been kind of medium, and we've definitely run below average. Rabner, thanks for the 29 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. I need a hero. Do 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 do. Really want to draw a 2 or 3 drop with this hand, but this is definitely keepable either way. Yikes. Yikes. I'm excited to get smashed for 5 next turn. They named Llanowar Elves, chat. Why were we unlucky? Why were we unlucky and drew 2 of the same elf? Hashtag never lucky. So, Phyrexian Revoker notably can't name lands, so it shuts off mana abilities. Ensoul Artifact is how they would attack for 5. And now they keep the base text on this card, so this is a 5/5 that can't be blocked except by creatures with haste. Well, shoot. Just drag our curve down. Bring in a bunch of things to allow us to be a little bit more defensive here. Pushes, Trophy, Rex Sage, let's go. I guess. Oh, I should have played Blooming Marsh on 1. Whoops. Sweet. Maybe I'm supposed to play Steel Leaf there to start, because it could trade with a 5/5 this turn. It's also block in general. I think I just Steel Leaf plus hold push up this turn. It lets me crack them for 5. It's been a rough set, Gorks. I feel like what this is doing in comparison to the blue-green Eldrazi deck is just a little bit uninteresting and underpowered. I would just like to reinforce again that, like, the record we have with the current deck, like, isn't really relevant if someone asks you, like, how's the deck, and the only thing you can respond with is what the record is, you're not really thinking about why the deck is good or bad. The details and the whys are more important. In general, playing more big monsters and less tempo pieces has felt worse than the blue-green build. It's the details on the specifics for why this has felt medium. I mean, I also had 10 power and played Terran Terror, so they conceded to that because they could no longer race my giant monsters. Brazen Borrower is just an incredibly good Magic card. I'm just gonna murder one of these. My lands for the next 2 turns are Spake 4. Or my plays. The Elder Squid, like, lets you steal games. Like, Elder Squid, sack my thing, go get... Elder Squid, sack my thing, go get a Smasher, like, steals a lot of games that you otherwise have no business being in. Allie plays ramp decks, not really creature combat decks like this. So, like, the types of decks Allie tends to play are fundamentally different than what this one is doing. Yeah, anybody who told you Brazen Borrower was bad, you should make a note of that and never listen to their card evaluations again. With this trophy, we might be able to get there here. I don't know. I'd also argue, like, saying it's nuts is probably a little bit too strong. I think it's fine. I think it's super playable. I think it's an appropriate, constructed, playable card. Yes. Yeah, if you ensoul your Scooter, it still loots. It's one of the reasons why. It's one of the things their deck does. Yeah, so the reason why I played an untapped land tier as opposed to the Overgrown Tomb tapped is because of Stubborn Denial. That way, if they can't soft stub my trophy. I agree. If Brazen was straight up, you could bounce your own thing, it would be absolutely insane. Well, they named Scrapheap Scrounger. That makes sense. Have a land. He's dead, Jim. You've killed him. And then if they don't get a large blocker into play here, Steel Leaf Champion with Hashep Oasis is lethal next turn. This can't be blocked except by creatures with 2 power or with more than 2 power. So this will make this an 8/7 and we can attack for lethal. As soon as we get a next turn though, they could have like land double Shrapnel Blast here and kill us. Okay, Copter lets them block. So, Fatal Push and Trophy are lethal here. Not quite, actually, right? Because of the way that works out. I could draw Reclamation Sage with this once upon a time. Or a land off of Smasher being useful. It's unfortunate. So we're going to be dead to Shrapnel Blast next turn. Maybe I was supposed to Oasis to force them to throw the copter away. Maybe that's the line. If I Oasis and force them to throw the copter away, I'd have to shock to play another creature. So yeah, I think I end up dead to Shrapnel Blast no matter how I slice this turn. Wow, they just don't have it. All right. Hashtag sometimes lucky. Yeah, overall this was a bit of a letdown for me. We never actually got Great Henge into play, but like we also boarded it out because there were a lot of aggressive matchups in the format, and there were other games, like there was a game against Phoenix where like we had a Giant Smasher and we were going to get to play Great Henge, but they were just dead to the Giant Smasher. So the fact that like control decks in this format seem like they either have K Command or Oko, so like the matches where this could actually be good, it's less good, is probably means this isn't worth playing. I think that's probably not a card I'm super interested in exploring more of in the format. Overall, I think as far as Reality Smasher decks go, I think I prefer the blue-green Eldrazi deck that we've been working on. Brazen Borrower and Rejuvenator definitely felt like good missing pieces of the puzzle to this, and I've been pretty happy with this deck list. Definitely going to be one of the ones that goes up on my website this weekend when I start